What I'm about to explain in this video made a huge difference in my life, and it's surprisingly simple. When I was 22 years old, I was sitting on a picnic table near the Charles River in Boston during a difficult period of my life. I remember feeling overwhelmed and uncertain about the future. At one point, I was actually crying and wondering how I was going to move forward. While sitting there, a simple thought suddenly occurred to me. Maybe emotions have to be physically expressed in order to be processed. That idea stayed with me because it was so strange and frightening and unusual. Over time, I started experimenting with facial expression and emotional awareness, and it eventually led me to a very simple insight that I still find useful today. If the face doesn't express it, the brain can't fully process it. Before explaining what I mean by that, let's try a quick experiment together. The 2-minute emotional signal test. This isn't a scientific experiment, but it illustrates something interesting about how emotions interact with the body. First, think about something mildly frustrating for the past few days. Nothing major, just something that annoyed you. Now try thinking about that situation while keeping your face completely neutral. No expression at all. Just hold your face still for a few seconds. Notice what the feeling is like. Now let your face show the frustration. Furrow your brow a little. Tighten your mouth slightly. Let your face actually look annoyed. Pause for a moment. Many people notice the feeling becomes a little clearer or stronger when the face expresses it. Now try one more step. Say the emotion out loud. I feel frustrated. For many people, combining expression and labeling changes how the emotion feels. This small demonstration points to something interesting. Facial expression may be one of the signals the brain uses to interpret emotional states. Most people think emotions are mainly mental events, but emotions are actually whole body processes. They involve interactions between the brain and the body, including the nervous system, breathing, posture, internal sensations, and facial expression. Many researchers now describe emotions as brain-body feedback loops. In a simplified form, the process looks something like this. A situation occurs. The brain generates an emotional response. The body begins expressing that emotion. The brain then reads signals coming back from the body, and the emotion updates, shifts, or resolves. In other words, the brain doesn't only send emotional signals to the body, it also reads signals from the body to interpret what we are feeling. Emotion researchers sometimes use the term emotional coherence. This simply means that different parts of the emotional system are aligned. For example, the feeling we experience internally, the facial expression, the body's physical responses, and our conscious awareness of the emotion. When these elements are coordinated, emotions tend to flow and resolve naturally. But when the components are out of sync, emotions can linger or build up. One important part of emotional signaling is facial expression. The human face contains dozens of muscles designed for emotional communication. Research on facial expression suggests that facial movements don't just communicate emotions to other people. They may also influence how the brain interprets emotional states. But in everyday life, many people suppress facial expressions. This can happen because of social expectations, self-consciousness, emotional avoidance, or simply habit. When facial expression is suppressed, part of the emotional feedback loop may be weakened, which brings us back to the simple idea. If the face doesn't express it, the brain can't fully process it. If facial expression is one of the signals the brain uses to interpret emotions, then restoring that expression might help emotional processing occur more naturally. The goal here is not to exaggerate emotions, and it's not to force feelings. The goal is simply to reconnect expression and awareness. One way to do that is a simple exercise I call the face, name, release method. This is a short exercise you can do for about 10 to 15 minutes. It involves 3 simple steps. Step 1, face it. Ask yourself a simple question. What am I feeling right now? Then allow your face to reflect that emotion. For example, if you feel sad, let your face show sadness. If you feel frustrated, let your face show frustration. The goal isn't exaggeration. It's simply allowing the face to express the emotion naturally. Step 2, name it. Next, say the emotion out loud. For example, I feel sad. I feel angry. I feel anxious. Research on something called affect labeling suggests that putting emotions into words can help regulate emotional responses. Step 3, let it move. Now, remain with the emotion for a few moments while expressing it and labeling it. Often, the emotion will start to shift. It may soften, or it may transition into another feeling. If another emotion appears, simply repeat the process. You can continue this for about 10 to 15 minutes. You can think of this process as restoring a missing step in the emotional cycle. Normally, the cycle looks something like this. An emotion arises, the body expresses the emotion. The brain reads those signals, and the emotion gradually resolves or changes. But when expression is suppressed, the cycle may be interrupted. The emotion arises, but expression is reduced. So the brain receives weaker feedback signals, and the emotion may linger or accumulate. The exercise simply reconnects expression and awareness, helping the cycle complete itself. People who experiment with this practice sometimes notices things like their emotions becoming clearer, emotional tension releasing more easily, less emotional buildup, and improved emotional awareness. The goal isn't to eliminate emotions. Emotions are a normal and important part of life. The goal is simply to help the emotional system complete its natural cycle. By the way, this exercise isn't meant to replace therapy or mental health treatment. It's simply a practical tool that engages the physical side of emotional experience. If emotions become overwhelming or connected to trauma, working with a qualified mental health professional can be very helpful. In closing, emotions are not just thoughts. They are brain-body processes involving continuous feedback between the body and the brain. Facial expression may be one of the signals the brain uses to interpret emotional states, which leads back to the simple idea we started with. If the face doesn't express it, the brain can't fully process it. Reconnecting expression and awareness may help emotions complete their natural cycle.